Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Viviana and I am, 2 weeks. This is going to be my 2 weeks post show from an NPC show that I had been sharing with you, and now I will be sharing my post show meals, training, and all that good stuff. Okay, so this is my 2-week post-show update, and I shared with you on my last video how things are going to be changing, how I started my post-show. Now this week is going to be possibly increasing my calories, trying to keep to maintain, right, because that's what we're going to be focusing on. And so I start a new training program as well, so that's super exciting. But mainly what I want to do, or my plan, is to maintain at the moment. And also what I'm going to be sharing is the difference between when you go post show and how you maintain. How do you start, kind of going back? What happens? Do you start gaining weight, gaining fat, all of that kind of stuff? And so how have I been managing that over the past 12 years? And the difference on the start of the prep previously, from the start of the prep of this year, and how it was different, and what I think is best just by me personally, how I've been doing things and how I think it's been best for my body, and I also think it's best for athletes. A lot of the times during the reverse, during the bulking, during the improvement season, whatever it is athletes are doing, they gain a lot of weight because a lot of people feel that it is okay, and that going on a surplus, eating more food is going to make you stronger, building more muscle, having more strength. So those are the things that we're going to go into details, because I actually years ago did bulk and then reversed, and I've maintained. And so I'm going to try to explain to you the difference and what I feel is the best way to do it, so that when you compete, or even if you don't compete and you go on a fat loss, it's basically the same thing, right? Maybe not to the extreme of getting your body to a very, very low fat, but it's still the same process. And I feel it's important to understand that when you go into an improvement or a reverse, that there is no need to go on this big surplus of calories, and there is no need to do extreme things when you're going into an improvement season or to maintain. But those are the things that I'm going to be going over this video, and share what has worked for me, what I've done before, and hopefully it's helpful. So what is today? Monday. So I weighed myself, and I didn't get a chance to record because I was training, doing cardio and getting ready for work. But I actually lost weight after my increase of calories. So that's interesting. I check in tomorrow, so we'll see if it's just a one-day thing or if that's, but anyways, not sure why I pressed stopped. So here I am at work, and then I'll catch up later. Morning, everybody. Good morning. It is Tuesday, and I'm here at the gym doing my training, but it is also a check-in. So after I finish here, I'm gonna go home and shower, and then I'm gonna go check in. We'll see if there's any changes, and I will share that with you. Okay, so it is a check-in day, and nothing really changes as far as when I go into my improvement season. I continue to get my measurements, put on my suit, get on my heels. Everything is the same. And a lot of the times there is athletes or just people in general that stop, coaching. And I think it is, you need it, not that you need it the most, but you really need a coach even after, when you're done with your show or you're done with your fat loss, because you need to know what you have to be doing, whether it is to maintain or, to gain as much as you can muscle and fat as less as you can while maintaining the physique that you've been working so hard, right? So for me, today I'm checking in. I do my measurements, I do my posing, I get on my scale every day, send everyday weight to get my average, how I'm feeling, my energy, if there were changes made, how did those changes, make it better or worse, and then what's going on, if there's anything that I need to report that is or could affect my progress in any way. So yes, I think that it is very important that you continue a program and you have a plan post fat loss, because that can go many directions, and a lot of the times it's not positive, whether you start binge eating and eating as much as you can, gaining a lot of weight post show or post fat loss, or there could also be some eating disorders where you stop eating because you're starting to see the scale go up, starting to see that you're gaining inches or weight, or that your body is changing. So I feel that it is important that you continue to have a plan post show or after your diet, after your challenge, your program, whatever it is that you're doing. You need to have a plan or somebody to help guide you through that phase as well. So I'll share with you when I finish my check-in, my measurements, everything that I'm doing. But I will tell you, my food went way up because last week I was feeling hungry, and that's what I reported. And even with the changes on my macros and having added so much food, my weight did not change. My there was some point this, but my average weight is the same for my pre-show. So that is what's going on at the moment, and I will share with you more as when I get my feedback from my coach.
Miss Viviana. All right, so we've got your calories up and you've done a wonderful job maintaining. Wow, that is just fantastic. The goal for me is always to make sure that we are every prep getting leaner, putting on muscle, and staying leaner. Now, obviously, you saw the size of some of the wellness competitors. So maybe it's best if we start competing in some drug-tested organizations. But this is a good start. Your waist is actually down back to basically show waist. So I'm going to actually bump up your food a little bit more. This is a good sign. We'll keep the cardio the same. Well done. Well done, Viv. Nice job.
Oh my goodness, look. I'm so excited. New flavor. Good morning, everybody. So today is Thursday, and I actually am not training today, so it'll be just my cardio, my 30 minutes. But I did put a poll on Instagram about what you would like for me to add more to for my videos. So whether it was more about me, more of training, nutrition, or my prep. And so I'm gonna start adding these different things that you suggested for me to add on YouTube. So I'm excited. Today I am just gonna go do my cardio, which is 30 minutes, and then I'll come back and get ready for work. Oh my goodness, how pretty is this? Look at that. Oh my goodness, and the weather has been so pretty. Yes, here in Austin, Texas, where it's always hot. It's a little chilly for me though. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, and I just think it feels a little weird now that I have more time because there is not a lot of cardio. So today is Friday. I get to wear jeans to work, which is fun. Now, these are the pancakes that I did my meal prep on, and so I put it in baggies, and when I have time I will do it like the day of, but I just never know if I will. And so these are my pancakes. I put them in a Ziploc bag, but I actually just put them away, and I actually like the taste of cooking it in the pan every day. Most of the time I will just heat it up in the microwave, but because again I have time right now, there's no cardio and training today, so I get to, you know, put my pancakes on the pan. I would have done them fresh, but because I had some already prepped, I don't want to throw them away or for them to go bad, so I'm just gonna heat it up in my pan, and that is my usual breakfast or meal number one. Right now, I did get on the poll that most people want to know more about me, for me to share about me. Of course, the post show and you know, prep and nutrition, right? So those are kind of like the topics that I'm going to be adding more to on YouTube. But I also shared with you that Alejandra, my daughter, gave me this great little book that you or I write about myself. So I think that's gonna be my way of sharing with you a little bit about me, what I write. I'm gonna try to do that during my coffee time in the morning when I write about the questions on there, and possibly just share from that book so that I can have you know, my usual day in my life with prep or post prep from the show, and then in addition to those questions, so that I can add a little touch on my about me or my personal life. Okay, everybody, so we are at Sam's this week for our groceries and Thanksgiving. And so you guys know that last week I tried going to a different store and it was okay, and I know everybody likes going there, but I actually like Sam's more. So that is where we're shopping today. Okay, so today's find at Sam's, we bought the usual, the popcorn, these air pop puffs, but we also found the Premier pumpkin, this one right there, and it's on sale. So it's been for the fall forever, but it's on sale, and I think for the 15 pack it's like $13, so that's a great price. Okay, everybody. So this week, what happened? What changes? What's going on, right? And my update for this week, I shared with you my check-in, and we continue to increase calories. Now, I did mention on my previous video that my hunger level was going higher as the days would go by after my show. And so that is due to our hormones. That is what happens after you've been in a calorie deficit. That's why it happens. Now, that is why it is very important that you have a plan post show, or even better, a coach. Because if you feel or you think that when you're finished with your challenge, your fat loss, your show, and think that, they got me to stage and that's wonderful and that's great, I'm just going to continue my normal life and then get ready for another show or another fat loss or whatever, right? Well, it is great and I get it. I understand. It could also be a financial reason, but it is probably not the smartest thing to do. If you do not have the knowledge on how to do it yourself, and after a show, what to do when it comes to your nutrition, what to do with your training, and then your mental health. It depends on how you've prepped, how you're going to be coming out of that show. So if you, during the prep that you had, during your fat loss, doing your challenge, doing your weight loss, you decided to take out all of these foods that you were enjoying previously, that they're part of your culture, your life, or just in general, you just thought, I'm not eating anything that is, high in calories, high in fat, because I want to make sure that I do these things and for this amount of time, and then I'll do it after, right? Well, what happens is that you will probably have an effect off of that, and it could be not only physically but mentally, right? Because people a lot of times start binging, and that is because they've been, out of all these things that they've enjoyed during the time that they've before prep, and then without having any of that, your mind goes straight to being food focused. And so what ends up happening is that people start eating a lot of those foods, which again, they're very high, they're calorie dense, and in turn weight goes up, and then you start feeling bad because your weight and you're physically changing, and you go in cycles. So it is very important that if you do not know how to manage your post show, your post weight, your post challenge, your post weight loss, whatever it is that you're doing, that you have somebody to help you that has that knowledge. Otherwise, you are possibly not going to be very successful. Now, again, and that is due to your hormones changing. And so you start getting hungry. Now, you need to know how to start adding your calories, what you need to do in order to be successful in your post show as well. So last week, my calories got increased again. And also just a reminder that I was actually reversing into my show. What that means is years ago, we used to get very, very lean for the show. Once we got on stage, we were, minimal carbs, minimal fats, just a high protein diet, those kinds of things. Now with things changing and science, obviously, we are now reversing into shows, right? For a couple of years, we started learning that, we get show ready before, so that once we get closer to the show, we start adding calories, we start adding carbohydrates and fats, and kind of, filling up. is what you'll hear most people. And so once you get to the show, your energy goes up, your food is up already. So these changes physically and mentally will start, changing as you get closer to the stage. And so that's what happened with me. I was reversing into the show. And so when I got to the show, I had already been adding calories. So now after the show, I just slowly continue to add, but it's not from 0 to 100. Now I am 2 weeks post show. Yes. And so my weight has slowly increased. Last week it didn't increase. The average weight was the same. This week, I did gain 2 pounds, and I do want also you to know that body weight fluctuates. So it depends on what I'm eating. If it's high in sodium, the weight is going to fluctuate. So it's always best to get an average. Every day you weigh yourself, and at the end of the week, you divide, by 7 your weight, and that's your average, and base yourself off of that instead of every day, because it's going to be changing. The other thing is, just this week, I started my menstrual cycle. So that is also another thing that's going to make my weight change, right? So my weight is going to come up. Now, if you've been taking, weights and measurements and all these things for this amount of time, long enough that you already know an estimate on how much weight you're going to be gaining when you get your cycle, which that's the case for me. So every month I get my cycle, I gain about 3 pounds max in my during my cycle. So I already know that if I am 118 or 119 on my average and I go 2-3 pounds up, that is because I know that I'm about to get my cycle, and then once I get it, it's part of it. So I don't freak out, and I know that it is just, part of why my weight is going up. Now, I know that a lot of competitors, because you are so lean during your show prep or during your weight loss, you lose your cycle. And so there's a lot of changes in women, whether, there's so much things going on because of your hormones. And some of the things that I mentioned for me was the sleeping. Towards the end, when I get super lean, I have trouble sleeping. But then again, I'm also premenopause, which means I'm getting these, symptoms where I feel really hot and hot, sweats and things like that. Plus, as I get leaner, I have a harder time also sleeping. But for my cycle, I never lost my cycle. I got it every month through the whole prep. So I know a lot of competitors get that, but that's not the case with me. And so this week I got my cycle just like I would every month. And I'm just looking now to make sure that I go over everything that I had mentioned previously that I would share with you. Now, how I'm feeling and my energy, obviously it slowly comes back, but I think, and I've said it before, I think the energy as you have lower calories, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel tired. You're gonna feel exhausted, especially depending on where you're at on your prep, where you're adding more calories, where you're adding more cardio and less calories, right? That's gonna happen. So I am right now at the moment feeling really good, having energy, and slowly my strength is coming up. Super excited about that. This morning I tried, my hip thrust, slowly bringing up the weight, and we're getting there. So it's exciting. We also kind of have to change our focus, right? When you're on prep, your focus is the scale, measurements, how you look, your physique, because that's really what they look at when you're on stage, how you look. Doesn't matter your percentage on body fat, how much the scale is, or anything like that. What matters is how you look. So that's your focus. But after the show, we know that that's the part where we start building that muscle, right? We want to start growing and getting to the point where we focus on the strength instead of the looks, so that when the time comes that we prepare for another show, we grow, or that's always the plan, right? But you change your focus. Instead of thinking about how you look in the mirror, how the posing for the show is, now you change that to, let's start lifting, let's start trying to get stronger, let's start getting our strength back. Plus also making sure that you're healthier. And what that means is not only your physical health, but your mental health, that you're not food focused, that you are also thinking about, just everything to do with your appearance. And I know that is very difficult when this is an aesthetic, right, sport. So it is hard, and it varies from every athlete. You're gonna hear experiences where the athlete has a very hard time post-show trying to gain, to look at the post-show and not looking at the mirror and not feeling bad because of the changes physically or the scale going up. These are real things. And so it takes time. I've mentioned before that my first prep was about 12 years ago. You learn every year, and that's what I love about the sport. It is very challenging. I love challenges. I personally feel a personal satisfaction when I get through it, and so that's kind of like what gets me going. But I also love how much I've learned over the years, and so not only about the sport but myself. So those are kind of things that happen post-show, and how it is very difficult for some people or harder on others. But as you go every year and you do these things, you learn more about it, and in hope that if this is something that you enjoy or that you want to continue, keep learning, because everything, just like everything else, will be changing. We know that in the sport, posing changes, divisions and categories change, all these things change. So we kind of have to be, looking out for these changes. Plus, we also know that the dieting, the training, all of that has been changing as well. So you want to keep up so that you also find out what's the best way to do it. And so that takes me to my next conversation, or what I wanted to share, is that previously, years ago, I would bulk, or after the show, some people do improvement season and some people do maintenance, right? So years ago, I would bulk, which means after the show, we go from really low all the way to high calories, right? And trying to lift as heavy as possible. And then I changed to improvement season, which means we slowly increase our calories, and then we reverse, and we of course try to lift as much as we can to get stronger. And then maintenance is where I'm at, where I've been, and that is basically to maintain where I'm at. So as I shared, I was reversing into the show, and then I'm bringing my calories slowly up, and then that's like where we maintain, right? So a lot of times, and it is very contradicting at times, because everybody gives their opinions, right? And that's because everybody's prep is different, and mine works different than it does for somebody else. So you take whatever is helpful for you and try it out and see what works for you in your body. But this is where I am learning that you do not need to go over your calories in bulk and exaggerate on eating as much as you can so that you can feel strong and that you can carry heavier and in turn get bigger muscles or growth. So, and I've done it myself, and I can prove you with my own experience that if I'm on maintenance or even of a small surplus, I have enough strength to have really good training, to have growth. And so there is no need for that additional, calories or going overboard to do that. If I keep myself in maintenance or, like I said, a small surplus, I have enough energy to do all of that. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you some pictures or videos that I've had from previous prep where I started and I was either bulking or I did reversing an improvement season and I was on a surplus. And then this past year where I was maintaining and I was in a small surplus, and the prep went so much easier than it did previous years because I did not have a lot of body fat to lose. I was walking for my cardio, so I didn't get on machines or do intervals or do high intensity, which I had to do previously to get stage ready because there was a lot more fat that I needed to take off before I got on stage. I had more weight to lose, right? So it was a little more difficult and it was a longer prep. So this prep, this time, it was just walking that I did for cardio. My training was the same, and I didn't end up doing a longer prep because I didn't have to lose so much as previous years or as much as previous years. So that is why it's very important that you understand that even if you're on weight loss, right, and you are about to start your reverse or your improvement season, whatever it is that you're doing, there is no need for you to go from 0 to 100, because then when you try to go back to your fat loss or your prep for your next show, you are now having the challenge of not only losing, that fat that you gained post-show, but probably you went over and now you have to have a longer prep to get to that goal. So I'm going to share with you like the different ways that I've done, what has helped, and what I see that in other athletes, the same thing. So you do not have to go again from 0 to 100 to an excessive amount of gain of your macronutrients to have the strength to go to the gym and be able to have growth and be able to be strong enough and have the energy that you need post-show or post-fat loss. So that is one of the things that I wanted to share with you. The other thing is, let's see here, post-show, hunger, we talked about that. And now my meals. So, like I mentioned on my previous video, I'm going to start sharing with you kind of like the different ways that I like to do my meals so that I can stay consistent. I've said it before, if you're an athlete, you cannot be an athlete only for a show prep and then not during your maintenance or your improvement season. You're an athlete all year round, right? Which means you continue to train, you continue to understand what your body needs, your nutrition, and you continue to, follow what your plan is so that you can continue improving. The only way that you can see improvement on the next season when you start prepping for a show and you show up at your next show is if you continue to follow your plan. There is no, okay, the show is done, we're done, and then next year let's come up and try it again. During that time, you're trying to build muscle. You're trying to, get better. So when you get on stage, there is improvement. And that's the only way that it can happen. Now, because I'm now on maintenance and my calories are going up, I have more calories to play with. I share with you different recipes. Now, this is the thing with recipes. A lot of the times, and I do this too, I see one that I like, I save it, and I never do it again. or I never look at it again, right? So my way of doing my meal prep or my recipes are simple and things that I can do without, like for you, for people that are watching or are trying to learn these things, that it's something that you can't do or there's too many ingredients and things like that. You've seen the way I grocery shop. You've seen that it's just, either my protein is already cooked or vegetables that are already to eat, which they come in bags. Previously, I've done steamed vegetables, things like those. Every now and then, I will do like a big recipe, and if I have the time. But most of the time, you'll see my protein pancakes, which is just the powder with a little bit of baking powder and some water or almond milk. That's it. Mix it, bake it, cook it, however you want to do it. The other things are my lunch and my dinners, right? Which is chicken, fish, whatever protein source I choose, with a vegetable and a carb that it's already done and ready for me. I just weigh it and put it together. Those are kind of the things I do. Now, once in a while, like a weekend, like today, I make my spinach, egg, and feta cheese burrito. A lot of the times, I do those either in a tostada, or I do that just with the egg by itself or as a sandwich. But today I put it in a burrito. So those are the things that I'm increasing as my calories are going higher. I can do these things. So I just want to share with you some of the things that I do that I hope that are helpful for you and how it's helped me. Now, next week is Thanksgiving, and what happens with Thanksgiving? Some people say, well, it's okay. It's Thanksgiving. I'm off. And it is true. It is Thanksgiving, and a lot of us are off for Thanksgiving. And it is about, remember that it is about the family, not the food. The food, yes, brings us together. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the food. And again, depending on your family, your culture, it is the kind of gathering that you have. But always remember that what's important is the gathering of your family and not necessarily the food. And that Thanksgiving is one day, which means all the other days in the week, you can continue to go on walks, you can continue to train, you can continue to follow your meal plan or whatever it is that you have planned always, right? You just get back to it. So after you finish that meal that you have and you enjoyed with your family, go for a walk, right? Go for a walk. And then the next day, continue your plan. There's going to be leftovers, right? And that's absolutely great because I love leftovers. But we also need to remember that if we have our goals, that we need to stick to those goals in order to be successful. So what does that mean is that it's going to have to be, you're going to have to figure out your calories for the day, your macros for the day, and how you're going to manage them so that you can continue seeing success. Now, there's going to be gatherings. Christmas is coming, Thanksgiving is coming, New Year's, all these great holidays. But remember that these are events that are happening for a few days. So you still have all these other days where you can continue to follow your plan. And that is where a lot of people fail because they feel that, well, I have a week off, it's Thanksgiving. And so all week is all about eating, not exercising, instead of, continue what you're doing. Be active, do your training, do your meals how you always do, but then that day of the holiday, enjoy it. Enjoy that day. And same thing for all the other holidays. So that's how you'll keep yourself from going overboard and keeping yourself also mentally, good, so that you're not upset with the weight that you're going to gain, the physical changes that you're going to have for eating, all these calories every day. So try to remember that it is okay to enjoy the holidays and the meals, but there's a whole year of you being able to follow through. It's only the holidays that we get to enjoy those meals. And so please enjoy with your family. Please enjoy your meal. And at the end of the day, it is up to you. What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? And then once you answer those questions, then continue with your plan. So that is my update for this week. Again, I am now 2 weeks post-show. We shall see what's next for the following week, and I will share that with you. Thank you all so much for watching, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.